So you guys know how when you smell a certain smell, you're transported back to that place in time? Like if you smell, apple pie, you maybe think back to Thanksgiving, or maybe some pine needles make you think of like a certain Christmas when you were younger. That's how I feel when I review Go games. Like I am like mentally and emotionally transported back to when that game happened. Which is weird, and I'm not sure if you guys feel that way too, but oh man, it's kind of overwhelming. And anyway, today we're going to continue our series reviewing our games, our very, very serious Go games from the US Go Congress, the US Open Tournament. Man, it's still like I still feel tired. And so we're reviewing this game here today. Like I can just feel the weight of like the stones like in my hands. This is also the first game I played after I had sprained my wrist at the Go Congress. So, I mean, you got to watch out for those Go Congresses, I guess. So I'm in a real interesting state. I actually didn't realize it was sprained at this point. I just thought I heard it. It's a thing I do. And woke up and it hurt a lot. So I texted some people asking for drugs, basically. Not like good drugs, just like ibuprofen drugs. So I was kind of hyped up on some painkillers. But yeah, this is that game. This is kind of after the day off, trying to recover, trying to like find sleep, rejuvenation, and it's just I'm just tired. I'm just happy to be there. Like the Go Congress is amazing, but there's just a lot going on, and it's easy to feel tired, especially when you're starting each day with a 3-hour serious tournament game. All right. Anyway, this game is against Brandon Williams, who is better off known, I think, around the recent internet as Contraband Go. Here's his YouTube channel. He also occasionally streams on Twitch. Do check him out. He's a pretty strong player, and I'd actually met him, I think it was 4 years earlier, and we played a tournament game. I have no idea if he remembers that game or not, but I remember he was actually really tired and worn out, and he just played real sloppy. Like, he was just super burnt out, and so I felt like I got not an easy win against him, but, I remember that tournament game being good for me, and I was wondering if he remembered that game going into this one and thought of this as a revenge match or not. I never asked him, so if he ever watches this, leave a comment, Brandon. Let me know what you think. But here, I'll back up here. In this game, I am white, and right away he takes this, little. I don't know what his attitude is. I'm not sure if it's flippant or just a little sarcastic or whatever it is, but immediately takes a high one-space corner enclosure in the lower left. I suspect he's just been playing it a lot lately and just feels really confident with all the patterns and Josekis from that. So I think that's probably what he's been playing in the tournament games, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know what he was thinking. Either way, it's fine. Like, there's not actually a whole lot white can do. I take the top left open corner and he takes the bottom right, and it kind of looks like a normal game. The one difference, again, being that he has a one-space high approach corner, which is slightly out of fashion, like in the world of robots. And I mean like 0.1 of a point out of fashion. Like, it's totally fine. No shade is thrown. But we play, I establish something of a base in the bottom in his domain, as I tend to like to do as the white player. And he approaches me. I play a little more ambitiously with the large or the small knight rather than the Kosumi type enclosure, and he makes a base in my domain. So everything so far, this seems like totally fair. The AI pretty much agrees. We play pretty normally. This next move, I guess actually maybe this isn't quite normally. After D17, I would expect something like L17 directly. But he makes this exchange first, which I think is entirely reasonable, and then plays it. So little interesting sequences for both this top and the lower left, but in the end, this is looking like a really normal game. I reinforce the top right since I'm sort of surrounded on both sides, and this also has the benefit of giving me a direction to play, because at this point, there's a few things I can do. I can think about going on the lower left. That's also quite big. Approaching at the bottom is also big. I don't know what's better. But here, I'm going to try to start some mischief on the right, because this is overextended. Now, in this position, I play 18, which is a great move. The AI has a slight preference for putting a little bit more space in between us, but I don't see a big difference. The next two moves of Brandon's kind of surprised me a little bit. I mean, this one, not so much. Like, that seems fairly normal. And since it's low, I don't quite feel the pressure on my stone. Like, I actually very much like the placement of my Q11 in this position. And so I take the opportunity to Tanuki to the bottom, which the AI is totally happy with. But 21, which is a good move, the AI, at least the Katago AI Sensei robot, likes quite a bit. It's not the number one choice, but it's like number 2 or number 3. Is just a simple cap on my one stone. I mean, how often do you see that these days? This capping type move is often much more common when white has like a full group or a couple stones that have been made heavy, and then you cap it to really attack. Very, like I was a little bit shocked in the game to see this played against only one stone. Because the stone doesn't feel heavy yet, and it's got a lot of flexibility. There's some Aji down here. I can break out this way. I can break out this way. It's doing a lot of little things kind of medium well, but the AI says that's good enough. It's not doing any one thing particularly well, but that's good enough to basically start the fight for the right. So we attach and get out, and Brandon plays here, and I make a nice bamboo joint, which now this group kind of looks heavy, but I can split, I can hane here. Like, yeah, I have a bunch of stones there, but again, just like when black capped the one stone, this whole group now still has a lot of flexibility. So I wasn't really feeling a whole lot of pressure at this point. I take this opportunity to basically just hammer in the corner, just take a big corner. We've seen this a lot in the other games in this tournament, especially from my opponents. And the AI, it's not completely in love with the timing here, but it's okay. And again, the AIs do like this size of corner. Like, this is what you see the AIs like to get. If you're getting smaller corners than that, they often just want to take the outside. But it pulls back, and I jump out. And for the moment, that comes to a standstill. Now, Brandon's going to take this opportunity to come at the bottom. One move that's on the AI's radar that wasn't on mine at all is actually playing this peep, which looks real strange because it doesn't look like it does anything. Like, what are you going to do after black plays here? Are you going to come down? Well, black's just going to maybe cut you. Actually, I don't know how this goes, I assume. Now, even though, yes, white can capture this or this, it doesn't feel like white actually gained a lot. I guess you wouldn't actually play that way, would you? I guess maybe just connect. I don't know. Maybe that is a big gain. maybe. All right, I take that back. AI, what would you do? Hold on, AI. AI, let's ask. Oh yeah, this cut here. Well, we're going to talk about this cut too, but if I play here, it doesn't even want to respond. It's just like, whatever. But if we play here, yeah, it actually doesn't want to play this way. It really doesn't want to play this way. Why don't you want to play this way, AI? I mean, it definitely weakens these, but like actually quite a bit. It does weaken these, but that's a pretty big gain. So I don't know. It says it's a couple point lost. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Again, this move wasn't on my radar, but I thought it was interesting after the fact. Oh, I think the AI variation that it really wants to play is for white to play here, not keep going down. It says this is better because this peep is actually quite nice, and white can threaten to link up. And if the link up is Sente, that means white gets to cut off this from this in Sente, and that's a big deal. Even though this right side and this left side are currently kind of safe, white can certainly annoy this quite a bit and attack a one-eyed group and just get a little bit of advantage when this group has to run out, or even, threaten to lean on this later if this group gets stronger. So all in all, this is a cool move, totally not on my radar. I'm just pointing it out. Even though it looks like a clear double peep, it just looks like black has too many stones and has too many options, and I just didn't see it. Anyway, black attacks the bottom. I take this sort of peep probe move, which is very much correct. Brandon responds correctly, and at this point, again, the AI actually wants me to return over here and just ignore this. Like, just let this go. But we don't. Again, two moves for the AI. The AI really wants this one. It really wants this one. And, basically we're trying to help out this group in Sente, ask some questions, similarly to how we wanted to know how Black was going to respond to D3, right? Like, we play D3, we're saying, hey, are you going to let me, like, make a nice group over here? Do I have to worry about running out? And if Black says, no, you don't get to make a nice group, well, now there's more Aji in the corner, right? I'll run out here, and then I'll come back over here later and do something else, because there's this giant defect. And attach here or here. There's lots of little knife fighty kind of moves later to press the advantage. Here, obviously I don't really want to run if I don't have to. And so if I can just make a nice shape like this stone looks real stranded. So that's why Black plays here. I play 36, which is okay. Not the best move, but this is kind of a standard get out pattern that the AI really doesn't like. just not like. Again, I would much prefer to Tanuki here or here. But nonetheless, we play it. Black plays here, which is a little dubious. And at the moment, I'm actually feeling kind of good. Like, I don't quite know how this is all going to go. But it feels like we're having a game. I feel like I still have some Aji over here. This Black group, I haven't quite figured out how to attack it, what to do with it. I mean, maybe I shouldn't feel good, but I don't feel bad. Let me put it that way. Like, no one's made a mistake in this game yet, at least according to the AI. All these, they're little like 1-point losses, but all of our moves are quite fair, quite reasonable, and, keeping our eye on the bigger picture. And so I make this exchange over here. The robot does not like that exchange at this time. I mean, you can kind of see why. It actually gives Black an easy opportunity to fix everything over here if Black just wants to spend a Sente move. And especially when White has peeps like this, or cut to, again, ask for Aji or maybe get something free over here. This one's a little lackluster, but so be it. 44 was my response to what to do, because I have this weak group here. I have a Black group that's kind of weak. I need to keep some pressure on. The AI is not in love with it. The AI would very much like to just come back over here and, take use of the Aji and just make the bottom group stronger this way more directly. When I played this move, I actually thought it was really cool. Like, I was kind of proud of myself. I was like, what a cool move. Like, it's just an interesting shape. It doesn't quite 100% connect. But again, I have this resource, and so I'm keeping this little cut in the back of my truck. What's the metaphor? In the back of my back pocket. This move actually really sets up really nicely, because if Black wants to play this way, well, later on, right, I get this net that just totally fixes everything. And I have this stone very nicely already protecting that here. And so it's a useful move to help this group to do something with this cut. It reaches out to my weak group at the bottom and attacks the Black group. It does a lot of little nice things, but alas, the AI does not like it. The AI wants to come over here, make that exchange, and then, play a similar move, maybe something like this, which probably, does a lot of the same things, but I really don't like making these two space extensions. That's always dangerous. So anyway, Brandon plays a little bit slack here, and unexpectedly, he's trying to sort of kill off the Aji in the corner while keeping pressure on over here and building the left. So he finds a move that also looks like, according to the AI, is a yellow move, like kind of a little bit of an inferior move. But I think if you like the logic of my yellow move, his logic makes all the same points, right? Just in a different part of the board, right? Quashes this Aji, builds over here, attacks the white group. Like, yep. Totally get it. But you can see, let's see, after around here, you can see the game, at least the AI thinks it's pretty even through here. But after I'd run out, it does swing a little bit further towards towards Black. And so, it's going to get worse. We're going to show you really where there's a real fork in the road for Black. I guess before that, we'll show you how I lose momentum, and there's a fork in the road for Black to really decide what the rest of the shape of the whole left-hand side of the board is going to look like. And Brandon chooses wrong. And from that, it gives me enough momentum to basically come away with the rest of the game, because I'm going to go down by a lot. Like, spoiler alert, like, this game kind of gets out of hand early. I don't do well with this fight here. This attachment, a little dubious, but again, I'm just trying to find a way to make myself stronger so I can go back to attacking the stick. All of our attention right now is really about this stick and my weak group. It's really these two groups here. And so I'm just really plowing in with a little bit of a blunt knife, just trying to get a little bit of Aji, a little bit of momentum. Brandon takes this cut, and I should play this exchange right away. I do end up making this exchange, but the timing makes a big difference in terms of what other options I can play. So you'll see. Now here, I still have the opportunity to make this exchange. It's not too late, but I play here. And after I do that, black turns here. And now the whole shape of the fight on the left is kind of decided for a while. This isn't the move I referenced earlier. This isn't quite the fork in the road. This is my fork in the road. What I really want, or what I'd much prefer, is if I can get this exchange, then I'm going to come on top here. And yes, Brandon can try to sort of cut through, but look how much weaker this black group is over here, right? This is getting so much more of what I actually want. Black still owes me a move, which means I can fix. Black has a weak little L-shaped group here, and plus the stick is still weak. It still says black has a slight advantage, but man, does this feel so much better. My M6 stone even looks pretty good here. My white group is going to be able to get out and be fine. I'm still going to take a bit of a hit on the left, but that's okay. We're gonna do some damage. Maybe that's the wrong metaphor. We're gonna get a little bit stronger, right, with this connection over here, and we'll be able to come back and at some point attack this L-shaped group. So, it's fair, totally fair. In the game, however, because I don't play this exchange, I can't quite play here reasonably, so I end up playing here, which is a big mistake. And this is the move that really sets off the game towards black's favor for, the next 30 moves or so. Because after black gets this turn, before this was like an L group that really didn't have any friends. Now this group actually has a lot more momentum, and there's a lot less pressure on the the black stick. I didn't know I could Hane here. Actually, I didn't see this move. Really? Can I do this? That seems real scary. Well, I play the human move, which is to get out. Black runs there. I finally get to make this exchange. I take a peep, which, the AI says, no, just don't worry about it. you can take this and be fine. Black still has plenty of Aji and things to do here, even if the 3 stones have to be given up, which isn't entirely even guaranteed. But even if that happens, black will gain enough that giving up 3 stones is fine if black gets control of the center. So this peep and connection are a little mistimed, but no skin off my back. My opponent responds. I make this bamboo joint. My opponent gets out. I try to get out, and if you're just looking over here, yes, black still has that stick group we talked about, but look, there's an extra cut and an extra liberty. And so it doesn't, I'm barely kind of hanging on. What you could say is nice, though, however, is this stick is still feeling kind of homeless. So, if we rewind all the way back to here, you can say, the situation actually hasn't changed very much. It's still this weak group versus this weak group, except I guess it has changed because we introduced another weak group for black, but an even weaker group for white. And that's kind of the summation from how we go from a 3-point lead for black all the way up to what does the AI say? Yeah, kind of like we'll call it a 7-point lead up to that point. So black's able to get some momentum. Yep. So this move is big. I don't know what to do over here. My shape just feels so bad. What do you do? The AI says I can actually play this, which is incredible. If we just jump out, I have to play some real sad emergency maneuvers. But I can kind of live over here, and that would be okay. What happened in the real game is much worse. Because I don't know what to do with these 3 stones. They look trashy, and I'm still feeling a lot of pressure over here. And, I want to keep the pressure on the stick. So I come up with B, which is okay. Like, it's pretty reasonable. Brandon now has to work pretty hard for the next few moves to get his group out. But it's not too bad up until this point. Because he always has this emergency escape hatch down here. And so at this point in the game, I connect here, which is bad, and just really asks to be cut and creates another problem for myself. I don't know. I was just feeling kind of frustrated here. But I needed to just give this up, let him have his emergency escape hatch, and go do something else somewhere. I did get a lot of strength over here now. You can see that my formerly weak group is so much more connected and strong. We almost can make an eye whenever we want here now as well. We've got 2 stones we can get some free moves against if we need to get either of these groups out for some reason. But yeah, black has a commanding 10-point lead at this point. And, that's just how it's going to be. I play this little, quasi-co shape sequence over here. If black does this, there's some co-shapes in here for later. But he plays this way, which means I can make this live, but I'm going to take some real big gote to do it. And so, yeah, I gain a little bit, but it doesn't feel as important as this whole left-hand side. And so here, let's turn the AI off for a little bit. So over here, I'm trying to figure out how to use these 3 stones because the shape is so bad. And, it's just hard. It's just hard. When your opponent has all the shape points that you want, it just feels like a struggle. It feels tiring. So I asked for a little, I asked for a little bit of Aji here, and I get it. And I asked for a little bit of Aji here, and I play this crosscut. And if you looked at, or if you were following one of those robot sequences earlier, realistically, if I could get black to respond this way with this move, this is a million times better. This Hane is not nearly as impactful on this crosscut. This is what the AI wanted to do earlier. If black had to respond, say with something like this, we can get this crosscut, and oh my gosh, 1 is so much better placed at 1 than it is at 2 for getting this group out. But alas, we did not play that way, so we took this. We just took what we could see, take this crosscut, and black takes all these Ataris, which are fine. White turns here, and this is the fork in the road that, at this point, I think before this move, if we turn this off, I think it's going to show Brandon up by over 15, maybe even 20 points or so. Yeah, 15.6 points after this turn. But you're going to start to see that's basically the end of his advantage, and we just swing the momentum back to our favor. And so this is the fork in the road, and I want you to consider black's position. What is black trying to do here? Well, for the last, I don't know how many moves, 50 moves, basically this entire game has been about attacking this weak white group and white trying to attack the weak black group. Now, black used his escape hatch to get out, and potentially even make some more points. White hasn't. So white still feels super vulnerable. White does have some resources. Like I said, there's an Atari up here. These stones are low, so maybe we can lean on them. These aren't really easy to attack with. But man, this weak group right here, like your eye as a Go player should just sort of go to it and go, what is this? How is this group going to live? How is it going to connect to? Because it really has no friends. It can't really connect over here. Over here, it's got some friends, but if black pushes, black can basically just push up against it and prevent that connection. And so how is this going to live? And that's what your psychology has been for the last 50 moves. Like both me and my opponent have been focused on what is happening with these bottom groups. And Brandon comes to this point where, after I turn here, he's got to decide. He can just come back, pull back, and take all this as profit. And granted, it doesn't look very big. Like, it actually looks pretty small, especially compared to eyeing this. Or he can lean on here and continue the attack on this. this is a big loss. Like, this is like a 10-point loss kind of move. It doesn't seem like it, but, and this is a video, a comment I made a lot in my last video. When you have two weak groups, or potentially weak groups, fighting over the base is worth so much. And it's actually worth way more than even getting a potential attack against a larger group most of the time. Like, making sure your opponent isn't safe and making sure you are safe is such a big move, and really strong Go players feel that weight. Q players, they tend to get a little sidetracked and hyper-focused on killing something or attacking something. And I think that's what happens to Brandon here. This move makes sense. Like, it looks totally natural. Like, the whole game is just running in this direction, keep the pressure on. But oh my god, it would be so much better to do this. And the reason is because, number one, most importantly, I no longer have an attack against anything here. I might get a free move or two, like maybe, but even then that's kind of dubious. But this is just rock solid safe now. My group is still not connected. Like, it's still under threat. So it doesn't actually, even though it doesn't attack it directly, you're already attacking it as black. And third, it keeps some profit. Like, this is just now, these are all just captured, so that's just free points. And the last point, and perhaps the second most important, right, though after keeping your own stones safe, is that this stone doesn't let this little tail end of my left-hand side settle. And again, this is what I mean when I'm saying, like, you have a weak group versus a weak group, they're fighting over the base. The capture of this stone basically gives black the equivalent of a base. In this case is actually a capture connection, and keeps white a little bit from potentially also having that same base. And I know right now white's not in any serious trouble. Like, this isn't Sente. But, oh man, there's some Aji in here. And if white has to worry about things, anything black does over here is basically going to be Sente, right, against this little tail end. And in black, you really want Sente moves because you want to kill this. And so this is one of those base versus base situations. I know it looks kind of unconventional, but this is the fork in the road. Brandon keeps up the attack. And so I immediately play 92 in the game, and I'm feeling quite happy. Like, even though I'm still losing, I'm like, look, yeah, I'm going to lose some points over here. Black's going to get a ton of free stuff. Look at all the free stuff black gets. Black's going to be able to come out and play 97. Look at all that free stuff. But I want you to keep in mind, this black group, not safe. And it's that lack of safety that means my white group will be able to be fine. As long as I can harass another weak group on the way out, both are fine. This is so common. You have a weak group versus a weak group, both are going to live. Right? Like, that's just a Go axiom. One will slap the weaknesses of the other to find a way to live. And that's basically what happens. I jump out, not the best move, but good enough. And Brandon is kind of recoiling. He's like, my group's not fine. I don't want to get surrounded. So he plays 99. Again, thinking, look, this is weak group versus weak group. This is like, we're both fighting for this space. We both want to become alive. I push, he plays 101. This is a second big mistake. So the first one, he had this fork in the road. The second one just feels more natural, right? It's this singular focus on, look, this whole game has been about this one white group running this way. And not being able to shift that focus leads to him making two mistakes in a row and me getting back in the game. If we turn the AI back on, you can see after 101, we're at like a 2-point game. We're basically even again. Amazing, right? We go down from a 15-point loss to just about even because we're in this case, black in particular is unable to switch the focus to anything else on this board. We're just sort of like mentally locked on this one fight. It happens to the best of us. Don't worry. I get single tracked as well, including in this game. Like, I'm also very, like, I don't need to play all these exchanges, right? I'm still focused on the safety of this group. This Hane is very big. I take this stuff, which is fine. It'd be better for me to actually play here. I thought this actually set up a better cut kind of sequence later. It doesn't really do much, but it's still fine. Like, I'm still connected. This move is very big, though. Black can totally save the stone and should at some point. However, Brandon makes another mistake and cuts here. And this mistake is not, it's not bad. Like, it's hard to say it's a human mistake because he still profits from it. But in the eyes of the AI, it's still just lacking in direction. You know, like I understand the idea, right? Like there's kind of some weakness here and down here and down here. He just wants to cash it in for something. If we enable the AI though, the AI is like, hey, you should just, you know, either run this stone out immediately or fix this weakness over here. Like you still actually have a point advantage on the board. White doesn't have very much. And if you look around, you can kind of see that I still have my big corner and everything else is real tiny. And again, these are not totally alive yet. So this is the kind of move you play when, you know, you have to like cash in a whole bunch of thickness or you're down by a lot. It's brutal. Like this is a very brutal move, but you're just ahead. And there's no way for White to make enough points, so you don't need to play it. Okay, finally, I get to play this cut that I've been sort of thinking about and watching all game. However, it's bad timing. I shouldn't play it. But hey, it's okay. I think in this case it's actually still better I know it's still better for Black to play this Panuki or Tiger's Mouth capture. Brandon and I actually talked about this after the game, and he's like, oh yeah, I should just play this one. Because this one still leaves this later on. Like you actually don't have shape down here. And I want you to keep your eye as well on this Black group. In terms of eye space, right now, it does not have much. Like this Black group, spoiler alert, needs to run all the way back up here and connect back to this in order to live later on. Which, if Black just played here, like, oh my God, Black has so many more options. It just looks weird, right? It just looks funny. But after this move, oh man, I've got some momentum now. I'm going to go and capture the stone. I don't know if Brandon's having a freak out or just trying to like recover, but he sort of staggers backward with this, which I'm totally happy about. It doesn't actually do a lot for him. It helps me actually get shape. I guess it makes sure I have a falsified eye. I guess that's the one thing it does. But man, I'm going to be able to counterattack the corner if he's not careful. So he plays this move. We play some very careful shapes in here. I take this. He cuts through. I cut through. I capture the 2 over here. And basically everything here is kind of settled enough. Yes, Black can still, you know, capture stones, save these, but I can connect and make eyes. And so, I already have eyes because these 2 are dead. So Black, you know, basically secured the corner, which was in question before. But White got some extra profit and broke through the side, and again, was able to cut off this group, perhaps even more importantly than any of that. But Black has Sente. Black can now have the time to move this stone out. I play this sequence, which is okay, not the best sequence. But once again, another mistake by Black. And so it's just this waterfall of mistakes that we can see this graph just going from here to here. I just kept getting this momentum. And you may say, well, this is a Sente move. Why is it a mistake? Well, after this exchange, Black still needs to come back. It doesn't really do much, right, other than just force me to connect. And Black still needs another move to decide who captures whom over here. And this is a very big capture, because if I capture, I don't have any problems in the world. And if Black captures, well, now there's no need to connect. Black has no problems in the world. Huge move. But he looks for some endgame. I follow him for a little while. After this move, of course, I'm just going, you know, there's nothing else except to take this. And now I am having this very comfortable position on the board. Yes, there is mischief to do down here, but again, this side is already pretty much alive, so all I have to do is make this alive, and we're fine. If, you know, Black wants to take this, oh man, I can still play that peep. Again, I can find the time to come back and just connect and capture those 3. So, you know, basically White's fine on either side here. We've got this capture here, so my group is totally fine. I just have to ride this out to endgame. And that's more or less what happens. I do get to harass some things. I do lose these over here in the end. Actually, I lose a little bit more than that, lose the tail of this. But I pick up a few more points in his corner, so it's, in the end, kind of an exchange. There's actually a fairly exciting sequence that I had to play on Byoyomi that resulted in a possible life and death group over here. I don't think it never lives cleanly. The best I can get is some endgame out of it, which is basically what I got in the game. Definitely not the best, most efficient. I ended up having to play a Ko to take some of these corner points back. But this whole momentum shift, right, basically was the game. And from my perspective, the most suffering, the most hopeless I could have been, the most suffering I could have had, the most hopeless I could have been, is for black just to have taken these off the board. And because none of that else happens. I feel so much more pressure here, even though it looks like, right, this stone will put more pressure on the group directly. Because black's weak, I don't feel that pressure as much. Black just kept feeling like he has to run out. And again, he played an extra move or two to make sure of that. So there was very little real suffering for this group that looks so terrible because of this one exchange. And that's what I mean, like, by this fork in the road, the path not chosen, the whole thing, the whole game, this one little seedling, right, grew into an oak of momentum from just not securing a base for black's group and not taking it away from mine. Yeah, but this was tiring. Like after this night, I think I finally get like my first like good night of sleep at the Go Congress, which is great for me because I need to go play Game 5. After this, I'm 3-1 in the U.S. Open, which is good, which is a very good score for my level. I'm quite happy with it. And I was happy to beat a fellow Go content creator, so that's always fun. Brandon's still a very strong player. I think he would probably have a lot of good comments to say about this game and add. Please go check out his content if you haven't seen any Contraband Go stuff before. A lot of these are really nice little, wrapped up lessons. And then again, he streams and he plays at some pretty high levels on some of the Asian servers as well. So do check him out. I hope to see him at more Go Congresses in the future. I think this is only his second Go Congress. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's his third. But it's it's always great. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah, that game was tiring. This brought me back to such a tired state of mind. I hope your own games are going well. I'll see you in the next one.
Get the stones, get the bowls, capture race to space base, destiny.